Whoop, whoop. We're here. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. It's Case with the Mondays. I'm Jordan.
And I'm Ashton.
I hope all the beautiful bitches are listening on their drive home or their drive to work, whatever you're doing. Cheers.
This is a hot girl podcast, actually. So,
well, I got feedback from some of my friends. We had dinner last night, and a lot of them, I think, listen on their way to work or on their way home, or like some of them listen at the gym, which I think is fun. So if you're ready to pump some iron, I hope it's going well, because we're not right now.
Or ever. Oh my God. I walk on the treadmill and I'm like, that's exhausting.
But this is my excuse in the summertime. I'm like, well, I go swimming a lot. So not like I'm like swimming,
laps.
Like I'm like floating, drinking beer. Like it's not like an activity. So
yeah.
But it's what I tell myself. I'm like, well, I kicked a lot in the water.
So, yeah. I will say after the float trip, I was exhausted. And I still have I'm covered in bruises. I'm so beat up, and it's not like I was doing physical activity. It was literally we'd go up onto one of the banks and I'd have to get out, and then I'd have to hop back in, and just that.
Not even strenuous. It's just a little bit of activity enough to be I'm sore.
Eventually we kind of gave up on paddling, and we're like, whoever we hit, whatever we run into.
For sure.
That's just how it's an adventure.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's an adventure.
Yeah.
I love it though. Okay, so I guess that's the first topic we have is we need a recap from Ashton's float trip. So I want to hear beginning to end, Friday through Sunday. I need a full, just a recap of that.
For sure. Actually, guys, it went really good. I know we were all very nervous, but I had fun. So much fun that I am actually looking forward to our float trip, Jordan. Halfway through, I was like, oh my God, I already committed to another one of these. What am I going to, how can I get out of it? No, I had a great time. So Friday, and how we did it, because Clayton knew, he's like, Ashton is not going to be happy camping 2 nights in a row. And it kind of worked out. And I'll get to that, the camping part later. But so we get there on Friday, and it ended up being, he got a little cabin just for one night. And I think it was only 6 of us. And then this other couple met up with us on Saturday for the float. And then we all camped that night. So it's literally me and 5 boys. And so the whole time we're all like, boys trip. And I'm just there. God. I'm having so much fun. Clayton made me take a photo and video just of the boys cheersing. And he's like, Ashton, you can do that, right? And I'm like, well, I mean, I'm on the trip too. But okay, yeah, cool. And I'm so annoyed. But it's fine. We had so much fun. I took a really funny Snapchat where I'm in the bathroom, and I'm I think they just all forgot how to close the toilet seat lid. I think
when the boys get together, it's the manners go out the window. They're just we're leaving it up because we can.
Literally.
Why?
No, literally. And I'm and I guess most of them live alone, and so they're not used to that. But I'm okay, we need to be a little courteous, guys. We're not animals. And they're boys trip. But no, it was really good. It was really fun. So Friday we were in the cabin. Saturday we were able to set up our tents beforehand. And as we're doing it, one of the guys is oh my gosh, I feel if a couple can set up a tent together, then they're meant to be. And I'm well, Michael, it's not going very good. Because the stakes would not go into the grounds. It was literally rock. And I'm Clayton, do you want to move it over there? Maybe we should move it over here a little bit. And he's no, that's not going to do it. Tensions got really high really quickly.
With the setting up the tent. Okay, and good though that you did it Friday, because think about if you're drunk putting it together, it would be so much worse.
Yeah, no, that's what we figured. We're we need to do this as soon as possible. And we weren't floating until 11. And actually, this place was really nice because they have a school bus, and they're oh yeah, we will pick you up at your campsite and then take you to the place. And then we will drop you back off where your tent is. It was really awesome. Mad luxurious.
Oh, nice. I hope ours is that, because before we've had to jump in someone's truck and drive it to the tent, or not to the tent, to the bus. So
yes,
that's nice. That's actually really, really nice.
Yeah. And it was awesome. And of course, everyone, the lady that checked us in, the bus driver is at 7 p.m., you have to be on this bus, or you have an 11-mile walk and we'll charge you for the raft and blah, blah, blah. Like, you have to be here. And we're like, oh my God, well, how long is it going to take? Sure enough, like, I think we floated for like 6 hours. Like, it was a long day, but it was so much fun. Like, so happy we did it.
They're long, especially when you do the 8 mile. When you do the 8 miles, they are longer, but like they're fun. I mean, the whole point is it's all day. Like, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
But did you make it back? So you
no, yeah, we did. Oh yeah, we had
your story. Okay,
plenty of time. But it was really fun, and like I totally see what you mean when you're like, oh no, you just see like all different groups of people. Some people you'll see multiple times. Other people will just like float on. And so the guys in the cabin next to us, it was like all connected, but like obviously like separate entrance and like whatever. And it was bachelor party. So it was like super boys trip on Friday night.
You signed up for a full sausage fest first.
I did. And I'm like, hey guys, woohoo. But we kept seeing them on the float. And every time we passed by them, I don't know why, but we all kept saying the groom. The groom. Like, I don't know why. That was just like the call.
Like, why?
Don't know their names. It was just the groom.
Nice.
Yeah, it was really fun. I'm trying to think. Nothing really crazy happened on the float. The boys started wrestling as they do, apparently.
What a boy thing. Why does it always end up they're always wrestling, or they're like, Peyton's friends would get into like, they'd like slap box each other.
Oh my God.
It's like we would, I mean, it hasn't happened in a long time. They're all like,
I don't know what that is.
I remember being younger. I don't really either. I just know that it would always be like we would all just get drunk, you know, at someone's house. And then the next thing we know, all the girls are sitting together. And next thing we know, the guys have shirts off and are like slap boxing each other. And I'm like, why? And they're like, why not? You know, and it's like, but yeah, why do boys, it's always either, you know, if you're in public, it's like arm wrestling. If they're in someone's house, it's like wrestling, slap boxing, whatever. And like they're children. And it's just like full proof that like dudes are always going to be like they're always going to be little kids. Like it just doesn't matter. Yeah. And girls, have we ever been like, you want to wrestle right now? It's like,
never, ever in my life. I'm like, do you want a drink? Do you want a shambong? Like, that sounds fun. Never get physical.
If anything, it's like, who wants to do a keg stand, or like, let's do a beer bong or something, like, you know,
who has to go pee in the woods? Okay. Yeah. We'll all go. Perfect. Oh my God. I was kind of on a similar note of just boys being weird. So we're on like our little float, and we ended up getting we got 2 6-man rafts between the 8 of us. So there was like plenty of room for coolers.
That's a lot of space for just, you know, you guys.
Yeah, it was awesome. And so we see this giant group of people, like I think they had like 3 or 4 6-man like rafts all tied together. And there was a bunch of people. And one of the guys, he just like, not like I'm not friendly, but I would never walk up to someone's raft and be like, hey, like, you guys got a cigarette? You guys got a beer? Like, I don't know.
Do you not have your own? Like, what?
Yeah. And so he comes over just being nice. And the boys are like, I don't think boys have ever learned stranger danger in their life. And this guy was about our age. So like, and he was clearly with this group. So like not super threatening, but his arms, literally, I thought he got shot. Like there were giants. Warning, this is gross. Giants like scabs all over his forearms. Ew. Disgusting. So gross that I'm like, you shouldn't be in like an open body of water. Ew. Like you're gonna get an infection. Like this
like, what did you do?
Yeah. Yeah. So, and someone asked him, I literally thought he got like shot. Like, I'm like, I don't know what that wound is. Ew. And he says, oh no, like I didn't forget what he called him. He's like, no, 2 guys put their forearms together, drop a lit cigarette, and first one to pull away is a bitch. And we're like, oh, so you're really good at this game? And he's like, hell yeah. And I'm like, that's going to scar.
What a dumbass game. What a dude game to play. Like,
and they were like fresh. Like, luckily, I'm sick just thinking about it. They were scabbed over, but I'm like, you will be getting an infection tonight. Like you have to go make your doctor's appointments now because it was disgusting.
Can you imagine? I mean, Jordan, why?
He's literally on our raft, and I'm a lot like our mom, where like can't do smells. I think about something gross and like I feel sick. Like even telling this is like tough. He's on our raft next to the guy. So he's not directly next to me, but he's next to the guy next to me. So 2 people away. And I kind of like give like the eyes, like I'm like, hey, Michael, like I want this man gone. Like I want him off our raft. Like it's been a couple minutes, whatever. And he finally tells him, he's like, okay, like, hey man, I think it's time for you to go. And this stranger literally looks at us and says, well, I'm not hurting anything. Like, oh, it's not killing the mood. And we're like, it kind of is. Like, I think you should go back to your
back
people,
to your group. Like, and it's like awkward that I have to be like, please leave us alone.
He was on a raft for like 10 minutes and like their raft is full of people. Like it was a good group of like good mix of guys and girls, but the girls are all like passed out. I don't know if they're hungover or like super drunk, but like not friendly. Like it was just very weird. It was very awkward.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, I just can't think, like, who came up with that game of chicken? Like, it's like,
yeah,
here, let's try this. And it's like, why? Like,
literally.
Why?
Yeah. So I guess I'm grateful that Clayton only wants to wrestle and like dive for crawfish, and he's not doing that, which is good.
Can you imagine if he came home with open wounds? Like, you would be like, why?
Yeah. First of all, I'd be like, why did you buy cigarettes? You don't smoke. Where did you get those?
just because it was fun today.
Yeah. Hey, we're playing chicken. I'm like, oh God, I hope he loves games. Like he has to be kind of like a 10-year-old. Matt has to be entertained at all times.
Is he home right now?
Now he's upstairs.
Oh.
He's working from home this week. But no, I was like, we're recording at 12. So like, I need you to scoot your
talk shit on you. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I did tell him, he was asking, I was like, hey, did you listen to This Week yet? And he said, no. And I was like, oh, I told the funny story about your like denim picture. And he's like, really? Is that all you do on this podcast? Is just dog on me? And I'm like, well, no, not this time. Like I was talking about me being crazy. So like, not this time, dude, you're fine. But this episode, absolutely not.
It's amazing. I love it that you were like, because Peyton is home today, the guy who's the sick, and so he is home. And so I was like, and I told him we were recording, so I'm sure he's like, are you gonna, if you talk shit on me, I'll hear it, and I'm like, yeah. I mean, like, this is on the internet, so it's like,
it's to my friends.
You would hear it anyway.
I'm talking to my friends, Clayton. This is a private conversation. No one
that will be on the internet. It's a private conversation that's going. It's so good.
This is the last thing I'll say about the float trip and Clayton. And so on Saturday we get the tent set up. We're like, oh, like, let's just, and he's very sweet. He knows me. He's like, Ashton, we're going to do a little glamping. Like we're going to bring the air mattress. And beforehand I was like, hey, that sounds great. I'm so down for that. But I think our air mattress has a hole in it because it, like, everyone who's ever tried to sleep on it says it deflates. And so we tested it. He patched it up, everything. And like in the apartment. And so we're thinking, okay, perfect, whatever. Didn't account for that. So our car has like a little, what do you call it? Like a plug, an outlet.
Like an outlet. Yeah.
Yeah. But we didn't like bring an extension cord to blow it up in the tent. Oh. So we look stupid, whatever, which is fine. So we're holding this queen size air mattress, and we had luckily like, quote, measured it in the tent. Like we just laid the tent out. We didn't put it up, and we're like, yeah, it'll fit inside. It took up the entire floor of the tent. So we have to blow it up on, like in our trunk, carry it, the two of us, and then try to shove it in to the opening of the tent. It was like, how people were like hot dog down a hallway. This was the opposite. Like this is the tightest little thing you've ever seen. No, gross. But somehow, some way we are able to shove this queen size air mattress. And of course we're too proud. Like we're not asking for any help. Like people are laughing at us and we're like, hey, we're going to show you.
We got this.
Mind you, it's 10 a.m. We haven't even started floating. So in my head, I'm like, it's totally going to deflate a little bit because like, it's going to be in the hot sun, like in this tent, like I know it's going to deflate. Sure enough, like by the time we finally come back and go to bed, it's like half filled with air. And I'm like, whatever, I'm just tired. I want to go to bed. around like 2 a.m., Clayton wakes me up and he says, oh my God, like this thing is deflated. And because it's so big, we are like smushed towards the middle because that's where like all the weight's going. And he says, I can't touch you anymore. And I'm like, what? You can't touch me anymore?
Like, you don't want to cuddle with me in this heat?
Do you hate me? And so I'm like dramatic. And so he ends up just deflating it. I thought it did it on its own. No, he like on purpose pushes the air out, not realizing that, okay, now we're on the ground and there's like rocks and sticks and yeah. So then he's complaining, which I did not complain once. Like I was like, I will do it after the fact.
Prove a point, which is
for my friends, but not in the moment. I was on my best behavior. I really was. So everyone should be proud. But yeah, so Clayton's like, oh my God, this rock is digging into my side. We had brought
you deflated it, dude. Like
literally. Yeah. I'm like, I think this is a you problem. And we had 2 pillows. I had stolen, I don't know if Clayton remembers that we brought 2 pillows, but I had stolen one. So I'm literally sleeping on a pillow, like on my back and inching my head towards his pillow to make like a makeshift little tiny bed. So I slept okay.
I can just picture this, like you're just like this will work. You're like, and your body's all contorted.
But just like when the air mattress was deflating, I was like, I really hope no one can hear this rush of air going out. Cause like it was humiliating to lay there and just sink further into the hard ground.
And you're just like,
yes. And we're just looking at each other and we're like, well, we still have like 6 hours of nighttime left. Like we can't wake up now. So yeah.
Wouldn't it be funny if you guys just left everyone? Like you guys just decided we're leaving now.
Oh my God. Yeah. Even like
they get up and you guys are just gone.
Even the guy who rode with us, we're like, we have to go. We did wake up at like 6 a.m. because we're like, we slept like 2 hours. I have to go poop because I haven't gone in 2 days. Luckily, it was so early that I was like, I didn't have stage fright. I'm like, no one's awake right now. It was awesome.
You know what? One of our last little trips, I did this. Like, luckily, the little like porta potties were close to where we were staying.
Yeah.
And I was like, I normally am like first person up, and so I was like, this is my time. And sure enough,
I have to go.
I didn't care. Like I blew it up after, drinking all day Friday. So I was prepped for like my Saturday float. And then sure enough, I remember my friends waking up and they were like, oh my God, I have to poop, but like all the guys are here. And like, and I was like, early bird gets the worm. Like,
that's how I felt in the cabin. I was like, if I go in this cabin, is it going to stink the whole thing up? Like maybe I could blame it on one of the guys, but like I couldn't, I got too nervous. Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. That's the stuff that sucks. Like when you're using the community things, you're like, so the one we're going on, I know the public bathroom is like a pretty far walk from where we're staying. But I know in the morning, at least sometimes that's a good thing though, because like the campsite is further away for the bathroom. So you don't feel bad. Like you're like, I'm going to stink up someone else's campsite and then go back to mine. So, whatever.
Oh yeah. We're like I don't know what you would call it, like where they had the showers in the bathroom and like whatever. I literally made Clayton drive me. I was like, we have to leave now. Like you have to drive me to the bathrooms because I'm not going to make it if I walk. And he had to sit outside and just wait for me. And I was like, thank you.
What a
very
gentleman.
Nice. Very sweet. He felt bad for me because he's like, Ashton, like, we're going to do this. It's going to be so much fun. Like he wanted it to be perfect and he felt so bad. And I was like, hey, it's a story. I had a good time. Whatever.
Yeah. Like you're like, we had fun. Now I have a story to tell.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I feel like sometimes on float trips, like I have done this before where I'm like, I'm sleeping in an uncomfortable situation. So I'm just going to like drink until I don't care anymore. And then it's fine. So, but nobody passed out on the river? Like nobody.
No, it was really good.
River stories. That's good. Okay, good.
No. Yeah. Does that usually happen? Is that going to happen on ours?
Yeah. Actually, one of my good friends who I won't say her name on the podcast, but I'll tell you after this. She is like, she really doesn't drink at all like anymore. Yeah. It's funny, but like our float trip, she got really drunk like on the Friday night, like
Mhm.
part, like so drunk to where she was trying to move the fire around like with her bare feet or like with her just flip-flops on. And we were like, oh my God, like, are you okay? And
Yeah.
I will say she was a trooper and she showed up, Saturday morning. She floated and everything. But she literally in the raft, I will never forget her just like this.
Oh my
Asleep
God.
the entire float. Like she was just like, ugh.
Oh my God. Well,
The
that's what I
whole
was
time.
worried about on Friday. I was like, it's like midnight. And me and one of the guys, I was like, I am tired. Like, I'm going to bed. And he's like, oh my God, I'm exhausted too. While Clayton and the other boys are playing like drinking games with with the groom, the bachelor party.
Oh my God.
And so I was like, and some of them were kind of hungover the next day. And I was like, I went to bed because, again, I was like, I am not complaining at all during this trip. I'm going to save it for afterwards.
Oh my
Set
God,
myself
that's
up
like such a
for
guy
success.
thing though. Like, don't they like they're none of them like think about it. Like that, I think as girls we're like, okay, like this is my big day. So like I can party tonight, but I can't go
Mhm.
too hard because I need to have energy. Guys don't care. Like they're just like, F it, I can handle it. And then they like, sure enough, they're hungover. And you're like, I
Yeah.
hate to say I told you so, but I told you so.
But what,
It's okay.
hey, what do you say? Ignorance is bliss. What a privilege to live in the moment, constantly
I
never
wish I
having to
could do
plan
that.
ahead.
Yes, I
Yes.
wish I could be that person. And even when I was younger, I think I was that person that really didn't get hungover. So I didn't
Mhm.
care about going hard. And then my friends would like, they'd be cussing me the next morning because they were like, God damn it, Jordan. Like, they're all hungover. And I'm like, what? It's fine.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we will be partying Friday night for sure. But I think we need to bring the Pedialites and all of the goods, for Saturday
Yes.
morning. So
Absolutely.
when we're eating a
Absolutely.
good breakfast Saturday, we're bringing Peyton's new Blackstone, so we're gonna have a good
Ooh.
breakfast. Like,
Oh, that sounds
yeah,
awesome.
because my last couple of float trips, the food we eat like before we go on the river, it's like a couple of granola bars, and then you're like have no base like at all.
Yes.
So
Yeah, we did like Uncrustable sandwiches. And so we're just like shoving Uncrustables for breakfast into our faces. But the salami roll-ups were the move. They were so
the
good.
rolls were they good in the bag?
Oh my gosh,
Did they stay
yes.
good? Yeah.
Yes, they were perfect. I wrapped them in aluminum foil. And like, even one of the guys was like, hey, can I try one of those? And I was like, oh, and we brought Chick-fil-A sauce. Like, we went to Target, they sell like the full bottles. Oh my God, amazing,
Oh,
unmatched.
hell yes.
Saved me. It was amazing.
Okay. All right. We need to remember that. So, okay, good. I'm glad the wraps worked because that's what we've done before and it works a lot
Yeah.
better. So,
No, it was
well, I'm happy
awesome.
you survived and there was not a lot of complaints.
Yeah.
So that's good. I don't know if that maybe means you didn't go hard enough because I feel like maybe that means you should have gone harder. You know what I mean?
I have a little rash. So I think I did go hard enough.
A rash?
I have a
Whoa.
rash. I don't know if it's related. I wasn't gonna say this. Did you get my Snapchat?
No, I did. I just forgot about it, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't
So,
think, don't be concerned because honestly, and I don't know what it was from, but it's like I'm having an allergic reaction to something. And this might sound stupid. So let me know if you think this is real or not, Jordan and people listening. So I had Monday off and I'm like, oh, I'm going to Target. Like, I'm going to have so much fun. Like, we're going to have a day. Tried on a few clothes. Everything's fine. And then that afternoon, I was like, and it's only on my stomach because I was concerned. I was like, do I have bed bugs? Nowhere else. Clayton doesn't have it. It like doesn't itch. It's very strange. And it's just like little bumps like all over my stomach and like kind of on my back, but
weird.
mostly just on my stomach. Very strange. And so I'm thinking, I'm like, did I like try something on that like irritated my skin or like it's getting a lot better. It's been a couple days, but yeah, I told Molly that and she's like, you should check, you should keep an eye on that and maybe go to the doctor. And I'm like, I don't think it's like a big deal. Like I've been taking a couple Benadryl every night. So
Yeah, you're fine. I think you're
yeah.
fine. Well, I will say one year we went and I feel like all the girls besides me got some sort of rash. And I guess it
Yeah.
was just like, I don't know if it was just like maybe like we went through like some sort because I remember we gosh, there was something where we walked to, they had like a waterfall that we could like walk under.
Yeah.
So they were wondering if like maybe they got it from that, or maybe it was like an allergic reaction from like the rafts or something. But
that's what
that can happen,
but on my
guess.
stomach.
Yeah.
Was weird because it's not on like
were
my
you
butt.
like belly flapping on the
no,
raft?
And it's not poison ivy. Like it doesn't itch and it didn't spread anywhere. And I was like, am I stressed? Like I don't know what's going on right now. But,
yeah. Oh my
whatever.
gosh. Well, we're happy you're alive. We're happy you made it.
I'll give a rash
sausage
update.
fest is over.
I'll give a rash update.
Yeah, rash
episode. It's like, is she okay? It's fine, guys. It's fine. Whatever. But yeah. So anyway, how's your week going? Anything exciting with you?
It's going good. Honestly, nothing super exciting. I worked like the hottest wedding ever last weekend, but the footage was amazing. So like,
oh my gosh, yeah, it looked
that
really
sneak
good.
peek I posted. Yeah, it was a good wedding. But I will say, like, can we stop doing the outdoor weddings in June and July? Like that would be my only thing. Like if you're getting married, like try to stay away from it. And like even if you're gonna get married, then maybe your reception indoors, not an outdoor wedding, reception. Because it was like everyone was just like sweating from head to toe, like the entire time.
Oh, so the reception was outdoors.
Everything.
Oh my
was
God,
outdoors.
that's crazy.
And
that's
it's like,
weird.
why? It's like, why? But yeah, so that was good. And then like I told you earlier, I have an app that tracks my period because I'm an old woman.
Oh, hell yeah.
And it's more just so it reminds me like, hey, your period's coming up. So that's why like you're kind of bitchy. So, it just reminds me. So I forgot to log my period last week and it notified me. It didn't just say, like, hey, make sure you log your period. It said, we're worried about you. Like I got a notification that literally said, the app is called Flow, FLO. And it said, we're worried about you. And I was like, you're worried? Like, what do you mean by that? Like, yeah, you're worried I'm pregnant. You're worried, like, just about my well-being.
You died?
Like,
you didn't log your period.
No, it's just like it just seems like a very dramatic statement for an app to notify someone.
Yeah, maybe like worded a little differently. That is so funny.
It's just alarming. And there was no emojis or punctuation. It just said, Flo, we're worried about you. And I was like,
oh my God, it's so funny.
Me. Flo,
I'm here,
relax. Yeah. I'm like, thanks, Flo.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Yeah. So, but no, that happened today. But yeah, honestly, it hasn't been too terrible week. I think I did find I saw a funny TikTok the other day that I was going to ask you about because I thought it'd be a funny talking point. So, we've talked about bad tattoos before, just bad tattoos. And this TikTok I found, it was like, if you could think of a tattoo that would mark a male as a fuck boy, like just you immediately see it, you're like, yep, what would it be?
Ooh.
In 2022, right? Because it's like,
because I was gonna say
changed.
I was gonna say tribal, but I think that is very early 2000s. Now,
I think if you're getting tribal now, like you're straight out the trailer park. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yes. I think if you're getting a 2022 tribal tat, that's not your culture and you're just getting it to look cool. Way out of style, dude. B, like, did you grow up in a trailer? Like, who told you this was cool and like appropriate? So
out of control.
But that will always be on the list for sure. I think like if you see someone with a tribal tat, you're like, gross. Like, absolutely not.
Yeah. Oh, I feel like 2022. It's either going to be like a fraternity tattoo. Like if Clayton
people do that,
ag sig, I don't think we would be dating. I feel like a frat tattoo or like honestly kind of cross. Does Peyton have a cross tattoo? I feel like a solo cross is like kind of a red flag. I don't know.
Yeah, that well, mine was going to be a tree line, like like when they
have,
like, the tree line over their arm.
Yes,
that to me is turned into a fuckboy tattoo for sure, or any type of like scripting, whether it's like religious or whatever.
There was a guy I went to high school with. I literally don't remember his name, but like right after graduation, he posted this. It's like it's a full paragraph on his ribs. It's huge. And I was like, did he get the grapes of wrath tattooed on his body? Like that thing is massive. So many words. Take me like 10 minutes to read. It was out of control.
That's so bad. That's so
Yeah.
bad. Well, and I think, yeah, that for sure. It's just bad. And there's different stages, right? Like, I mean, I think there's like, these are the ultimate crazies. And then these are like I red flag it for sure. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
I asked
and
Clayton
then,
a couple months ago, I was like, I don't know how it came up, but I was like, oh, like if you were to get a tattoo or like you had, I sound like mom, if you have to get a tattoo, like you're going to die. Like that would
someone's
never
holding a gun to
happen.
your head and you have to.
Yeah. I don't know if I phrased it that way or if I was like, if you were to get a tattoo, what would you get? And he said, oh man, like I have always wanted, this is so cringy. And I literally told him, I was like, if you did that, even today, after 6 years, I would break up with you like immediately. He said, I've always wanted to get a little Nike swoosh on my foot, like where it is on the shoe. So, like, you're always wearing a Nike. And I'm like, who are you? Psycho? Disgusting. It is. And I was like, Clayton, the swooshes on the shoes are like very big. Like that would take up your whole side of your foot. And he's like, no, it'd be small. I'm like, even
Also,
still.
a man with a foot tattoo, like,
And a Nike
so
swoosh.
weird.
Weird.
And
And
you
I was
were
like,
like, that would be your choice. Like, you have so many other things.
and I'm like, you've never worked for Nike. Like, why would you get that? And he
Just
had
likes
his
to.
reasons, but I was just like, if you do that, we are breaking up.
I mean, to each his
Absolutely.
own, right? Like, I think with tattoos, to each his own. Like, it's your body, do what you want. It's just, of course, like I am allowed to have an opinion, and so is everyone else, you know.
And our
So
opinion is
that is
correct.
weird. Yes.
We're right. And I'm like, okay, like, have you seen all the things where it's like men in flip flops, like men need to phase out the flip flops? So I'm like, you would never be able to wear sandals again. At least around me. You'd be
And are
wearing
you going to do
shoes.
both feet, or are you just going to do one? Like, that would be
Oh my God, I didn't even
question.
think about that. Like I feel like two Nike swoosh tattoos would be worse than just one.
Does he do them on
Like,
the insides and the outsides?
oh, I think he was just talking about the outside, but that was huge. Like, oh my God.
That's so bad. That's
So
bad.
that would
Also,
be
I didn't add this to my list, but I'm just thinking about this. Last name tattoos, like when they get their last name across their whole back,
Ryan
like a
Sheckler.
jersey. Yeah, Ryan
Yes.
Sheckler did it. And I remember back in the day, we were like, that's so hot. And then now I'm like, was he going to forget it? Like, were you going to forget your name? And like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just getting your own name. Like, it's like a jersey. It's just kind of strange. I would be like, oh, it's a little like conceited, but okay. Like,
Yeah. I
whatever.
feel like that's on the level of angel wings on the back.
Oh, yeah. Like a full wing tat. Nice.
Those are tough.
So that's the second part of the question is what do we think would be the equivalent for girls? Like for when guys see that, like what would be like, oh, that you're crazy. Like, you know what I mean? And there's different stages, right? Like for me, these are things I thought about. So any type of animal print, like on
I
like the shoulder.
recently have been seeing a lot of cheetah prints. What's going
A
on,
lot of cheetah
people?
print. I worked with a girl at one of my first jobs that had a purple cheetah print on her shoulder. And I remember her even like she had got it when we were working together. And then like a couple weeks later, she was like, I like recently thought about like, I have to always have purple in my outfit. Like purple clashes with so many things.
Oh, true. Oh, yeah.
The next phase, I think like that would be like your top tier crazy. That along with like any sort of lower back tribal, like if you're still getting those, you're phased out. Now, if you're older and maybe you got it when you were young and it was a cool thing, you're forgiven for now,
For
but
now,
like if you're
count
getting
your
those
days.
now, if you're still getting those, like we need to end that. But I think the next phase of like that would be probably red flags to guys would be your typical like white girl tattoos. And that includes any sort of infinity signs, anchors, flocks of birds,
Absolutely.
or inspirational quotes.
I was going to say, not all those who wander are lost.
Yes.
Wait,
Are
what
you
was the
lost?
anchor when anchor was like super popular and it was like refused to sink and it's like, but it's an anchor. I don't know. If you have these,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I hope you're still in love with your tattoo. I hope you love it. Good for you.
But like I'm happy you got it and it probably means something to you, but it is,
Yeah.
I think if you got it before like tons of people were getting it, right? Like I'm sure it was unique at the time, and it sucks that it's been like saturated and now everybody gets these, it's kind of like ridiculous. So, but yeah, no, I think those were the ones that just came to mind. So of course there's probably far other worse things, but I think, to stamp the red flag on somebody, those would be like, for guys and girls, those are like our tiers. So let us know if you think we're missing something, because you know what, tattoos are always a good topic of conversation. So I'm glad that we covered that. We'll bring it back too, because I am very interested to hear what people say about the tattoos.
Also, this is literally coming from someone who has no tattoos and another person who literally has like 2.5 tattoos. That's it.
So. Yeah, seriously. I mean, so yeah, we're not ones to judge. I mean, Peyton has a full sleeve plus like his chest.
You're right. By association.
I'm not, trust me, I am not here to judge. I mean, like, I am a fan of tattoos. Like, so that's what I'm trying to say, is that I like tattoos. So we're not saying any of this to hate on tattoos. If anything, I would probably get like full tattoos, like if I like could decide what I wanted. Like that's kind of my hang up, honestly. So I appreciate that. Peyton's tattoos are like, everyone, he has a story and they're very creative, and I wish I had that, because I don't. I have problems with committing to things that will be on my body forever.
Yeah.
But
well,
I think the way
he's different. Well, I was gonna say maybe it's different. Like once you have so many, it's not like it's like what's one more, but it's like, oh well, if it's small, like for us, it'd be like one thing on my arm. Like that's so much attention to one thing. And what if it's like an anchor or something popular? Like how right now it's like the line drawings are super popular. Like in 10 years, are we all gonna say, oh my God, that's so 2020? I love them though. Like I think they're so beautiful.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't. I'm too
that's a super good point.
Scared.
Well, and you know what? Like, I think, because we've talked about this before, in Peyton's mindset on it, and this is like, I think the way that you have to be is like, he views it as, at that point in my life when I got that, it really meant a lot to me. So like, he's like, I'm not worried about like getting old in this, because this was something for Miller, or this was something that reminded me of you, or this was something that reminded me of this time in my life. So he's like, I can look back on it and be like, this meant something to me. Now, I think the people that get, like the eras of like getting like, dolphins and like random cartoon characters like that mean nothing. I think, yeah, you're probably going to regret that. But I think if it's a tattoo that means something to you and you got it for a specific reason, I don't think you're going to look back and regret that. Like I think that random tribal piece that you just said that looks cool. Yeah, I think you're probably going to regret that like at some point in your life. So.
Yeah, maybe we'll see. Yeah,
so,
sweet.
All right, so are we going to get into the news?
Perfect. Weird news.
Would you like to go? All right.
Yeah,
I'll have you go first.
Perfect. Yeah. So my weird news this week is from AP News, like their weird news section. And it says a commercial driver in Connecticut has been charged with 38 counts of reckless endangerment after blacking out behind the steering wheel while snacking on gummies that he says he didn't know were infused with THC.
Oh my God.
Yes. And it's 38 counts of reckless endangerment because he was driving 38 people. Like they were going to some casino. And he's like, I didn't know they were weed gummies. Like I was just snacking. Thinking they're like
he thought they were gummy bears. Oh
yes.
My God.
And so they're like, when he ended up pulling over to the side of the road, because I think he realized something's wrong. When police got there, they found him just like slumped over, passed out, and then an open container of like these Smokies THC gummies.
Oh my God.
Yes. Insane. Luckily, like no one was hurt, I don't think. And the manager of the bus company said, he doesn't drink, he doesn't smoke, but he does have a sweet tooth and likes candy. And then this manager, which I'm like, I know. I'm like, okay. But also I'm like, would it have like a weird taste? I mean, I guess they were just so delicious.
I would imagine they like don't taste like normal gum.
Yeah. And just like, where did you get these?
I don't know.
You can't buy them at the grocery store. Like, I don't know where you got these. Like, did you take them from your kid? But then, so the manager of the bus company also went on to say, which I thought this was really funny. He said, this would never have happened a couple of years ago, but now there's marijuana everywhere. Like what? everywhere, just on like the streets. Oh God.
I mean, I don't think it's just like, yeah, I mean, I think this is maybe it was just an accident. I mean, I think when people make that argument of like, we used to not have these problems, it's like, I mean, it was always there. I think it just wasn't like, you just didn't know about it. You know what I mean? And I think, isn't that the whole point of legalizing stuff is so they can regulate it and,
and
so it's not just on the streets
labeled, and like you're not going to Hy-Vee and picking up these gummies.
There's like special stores for them. Maybe it was like one of the people on the bus that like just had them and then he was just like, well, that looks good.
Yeah, but I'm like, and I don't know how much like each gummy was,
yeah,
but if he's eating a whole bag, oh my God, I kind of feel bad for him. Like he has to be out of his mind.
He doesn't drink and stuff. He probably, it was like, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel bad for him because it was like clearly just a mistake.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So I wonder if he'll like have to do jail time or anything. Like,
I didn't say
wow,
what happened.
Okay, well, that's unfortunate, but that's wild. Oh my God. Yeah. Okay, that's a good one. All right. So my news this week, also drug related. So I'm happy we're on this train.
Perfect.
So the headline here, I got this from the Huffington Post has a weird news section. So I mixed it up this week. So it says cocaine stashed amid coffee bean bags at a Swiss warehouse. Ooh. Workers at a Nespresso warehouse found 500 kilograms, over 1,100 pounds of cocaine, which would equal a street value of $50 million. And it shows a photo of this container, like a shipping container, like a really big shipping container that they get in their warehouse, which is normally full of coffee beans. Apparently, someone had tried to smuggle cocaine in them. And so it gets to the warehouse and they open it up and it's a literal entire cargo container full of Coke.
Oh my God.
Isn't that wild? Yeah. So it says basically that, they obviously like locked it down and like there's like an ongoing investigation kind of thing. But it's like pure like cocaine. Like it's like, so there's an ongoing, they're monitoring the situation. They've obviously locked the whole place down, whatever. I'm kind of thinking though, and this is the selfish poor person in me. I'm like, if at my work, somehow $50 million of Coke just happened to just brush on in, I would be like, be a shame if one of these bags went missing. And like, because like you could sell it, you could make some money. Like, people did it.
To who?
I find it, I don't know. I would be like, do we know anyone?
Do we know anyone? No. Oh my God, that's crazy.
He's like, now we have Coke. What are we going to do? And I'm like, I don't know.
Now you're a drug dealer, Jordan. This is all hypothetical, people. The police.
Here's my thing.
Is a joke.
The point I'm trying to make is that when things like this get reported, whether the police find them or this happens at this warehouse, don't tell me that everybody just left this untouched. I bet someone here grabbed at least a bag to sell it or to do whatever with it, because there is no way that everybody was just all clean hands. Like, we have to call the police immediately. I bet some of those people in that warehouse were like, here, take a bag if you want, and then we'll call the cops. Like, I guarantee you stuff like that happens.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
I'm saying, and like the fact that it's drugs definitely would like be like, you hesitate. But if this were a cargo container full of money, don't tell me you wouldn't have grabbed at least one stack of cash off the top. Everybody would if you had the chance. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm trying to think. I listen to a lot of true crime podcasts. So I feel like whenever people rob banks, they're able to track the money because of like the serial numbers. So if they were able to track between the numbers, like, oh, well, this, I don't know how it would get flagged unless like you took it to a bank.
Well, yeah,
I feel like if you just went to Target.
You don't take it to the bank. You just use that cash to live off of, right? Like, that
true.
Like what I used to fill the gas tank, what I used to like, I don't know.
Oh my God.
No. You don't just go straight to Bank of America and say, I'd like to deposit this bag of cash.
Oh, of course. Oh my God.
Yeah. So I was like, man, these warehouse workers, they're normally like, they're waiting for coffee beans. And then they're like, that doesn't look like coffee.
Well, this will really wake you up. That was bad.
So yeah. So no, I thought that was a good one. So
that was good. That was crazy.
Yeah. So we both had drug stories this week. Fun. So.
Sorry, Mom.
All right. So do we want to get into the stories?
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah, let's
All
get
right.
into it.
Let you go first.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so this is the story I was gonna tell last week, and then we got sidetracked. But yeah, so this one, when I was in, this is my second job. So after I taught camps for a couple years, I was like, I gotta do something else, people.
She had bad experiences. She's like, I gotta get out.
Yes. And so I ended up working for the Royals, like the baseball team. This job like was awesome. Like I seriously, no complaints. Like this was so fun. I wish I could have done it for more years, but by the time I was like, oh, I got to get an internship, whatever. So really,
yeah,
it was great. Like loved my bosses. Like it was awesome. But it was funny. So for this job, I was essentially like a hype person, a cheerleader, like for the baseball
Royals,
team.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so like it was a normal interview process. Like it was an audition. And I didn't really know what to expect, but I remember beforehand, mom was like, Ashton, you need to do your hair, how they do your hair, like look up the pictures. Like I'm literally wearing bright blue pants and like a white tank top. Like I looked ridiculous. Like I would never wear this ever, but I was like, you know what, gotta stand out. And so I got to my interview like 30 minutes early because again, don't know what to expect. And I was actually able to talk to the girl that was auditioning ahead of me. And so we're just chatting and I don't know how it came up, but she was like, oh yeah, well, like, you know, you have to sing, like, take me out to the ball game, right? And I was like, what? And she's like, yeah, like that's part of the audition because like that's like these
one of the things they do
that you do for this job. And I start sweating because I'm not a singer. Like at
we have never been in choir. Like we were never those people.
No. And honestly, I'm like Googling the words. I'm like, I can't mess up the words. Like that would be so embarrassing.
Why would you not know the words to that? I feel like
Jordan, you're under pressure and you're like, okay, sing it right now for this job that you really want. Like just
okay, that's pressure.
Like how embarrassing if I said root for the Cardinals. Like that would be mortifying if I didn't say Royals.
Fair.
So I'm just like,
that's fair.
So I'm like, okay, I have to sing. She goes in her audition. So I'm like, okay, I have 20 minutes. Let's do this. And I can hear her in the room. And this girl has a beautiful voice. Like she was really good. And I'm like, crap, I'm not going to get this job. I can't sing. Like she's doing so good.
Funny.
So I'm like pooping my pants. Like I'm freaking out. Finally, it's my time. And again, I don't know what to expect. I walk into this room and it's just me and this 40-year-old man. Like he's
Why is he the audition person
at this desk? He was like one of the, so we had a gal that was actually in charge of us. And I don't know if they were like in charge of us or if he dealt more with promotions or like, I don't know. So I interviewed or auditioned with him and he was super nice. Like he was really awesome. But you just like, you walk into this room and you're like,
expecting like a female, like,
oh, it's just us or like a panel. Like when for Mizzou, whenever we did tryouts, like everything was always in front of like all the coaches or like, so mostly women. So I just like didn't know what to expect. And he's like, hey, like, okay, we're going to start the audition with you singing the 7th inning stretch. And when I'm nervous, like I word vomit things that I think are funny, but like aren't. And so I'm like, okay, perfect. Like, just so you know, like, I'm not a singer. Like I said, and I don't know why I said this. I said, I sing like Johnny Cash, like I talk sing. So he's probably thinking, is she literally going to go, take me out to I should have. How funny would that be? And he just kind of giggles and he goes, okay, well, go ahead. And I knew I wasn't going to win on vocals. And so I made this room my stage. Like I am walking back and forth. Like I don't have anything in my hands, but I'm pretending to wave a towel as I sing, like how I think the girls would do it. It ends up going good. Like he was like, hey, like that was actually pretty good. I'm like, okay, thank you, sir. And then, so that was like the first thing. And then he's like, okay, so there was one of like the other promotion people was there. I don't know if he was in the room the whole time, but he came in the room and he's like, okay, now we're going to act like you are doing a segment for the game. Like you're going to pretend to hold a microphone. You're going to pretend like this 20-year-old man is a 6-year-old and you're just interviewing him like at the game. I don't know. I was nervous. I should have studied more because I literally don't know a lot about the team. I don't know a lot about
She
baseball.
doesn't know anything. She's like, I've been to maybe a handful of Royals games.
If they asked me how many people are on the field, like I would have to count on my hands. And I still might get it wrong. I'm like, are we including the coaches? Like, I don't know. And like rules out the window. And so I'm just like, hey, so like, how are you enjoying the game? Who's your favorite player? And I'm like, oh my gosh, mine is Whit Merrifield because he's the cutest, obviously. And whatever. So that I kind of fumble my way through that. And he's like, okay, like good job. And then we finally get to the interview and it's like much more normal questions. Like, why do you want this job? Like what got you interested? Whatever. But the whole experience was like when I came home and I told you guys, I was like, yeah, it was just me and this like 40-year-old guy.
And I think mom, and it was
mom
super.
And dad were kind of concerned. And I was like, no, it was cool. Like he was cool.
He's like a promotions person. Yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, I'm like, that was the best way to do it. Cause most of the time at the games, like you're talking to like some people, but usually it's just like weird old men that want to talk about baseball.
Little kids.
I'm like, do you want a sticker? Like that's it. So yeah.
Well, and the funnier part of the story is, Ashton talks about how she was so bad at taking me out to the ball game. Well, she actually ended up singing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" in the stadium many times.
Yeah, I actually got to do it. I don't know why they picked me. But yeah, so it was fun. So it did pay off. Like what I had to do in the interview, I actually had to do on the job, minus the segments. I never got to do that because we actually had a girl on K Crew that was like actually a news anchor or like studying to be a news anchor, went on to do that. So of course we're like, yeah, we'll let her do all the segments. She's actually good at that. Yeah. No, good times.
Oh my God. It's me. Yeah. Ashton's like, I'm here to throw t-shirts and just jump around. Like that's my gig here. So,
yes. Oh my God. But yeah, no, that job was so fun. Like it really was so fun.
So it was not a terrible job is what you mean. But the audition was just funny.
A funny interview, which I will never forget. I'm like, thank you for that experience. Honestly,
and also like, to walk in the door and just be like, sing. And you're like, oh, okay, no one warned me for this. They should have warned you what you were required to do.
It probably was in the pamphlet that I didn't really read. And I'm so happy I got there early because if I just walked in and he's like, we're going to start with you singing, I would have said, hey, what? Excuse me? Oh, okay, perfect.
Luckily you ran into that girl, so you at least had 20 minutes to like get your life together. Imagine if you walked in and you were like, I don't know the words. And he's like, you're auditioning to be a part of a baseball team and you don't know that song.
I don't go to that many games. Like
right.
Still the majority.
This is a funny story about baseball about dad because
true.
Our dad was born in Germany. And then his mom ended up marrying an American soldier, or, he's in the army. And so that's how he came to the States. He adopted our dad. They had 2 more boys together. And then, so he was kind of an army brat. Right. So, but that being said, like he really didn't go to like a lot of baseball games growing up, at least like major league baseball games. Cause they lived in like army town.
The middle of nowhere.
Like,
yeah.
That's just the point of the story. So our parents, when they're like, I think they're like married or they're at least together and they go with some friends to Wrigley Field when Harry Carey was still there. And he's drunk, hanging out the window, like singing, "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." And like, everybody's going crazy and all this stuff. And our dad, I guess he looks at our mom and says, this is awesome. They should do this at every baseball game.
Every game.
And like, they were like, they looked at him and they were like, they literally do this at every game. For every
same
team,
time,
like, ever,
everywhere.
7th inning stretch, every team across the years, they do this. And he was like, what? They do this? Like, really? Like, he was like, and it was just so funny that they were like, oh, like you haven't like had this experience before. Like, you know what I mean? You haven't been to many baseball games. Like, so that it makes sense, but it's like, are you kidding me? Like they do this everywhere. What do you mean they should do this? They do this. This isn't like just here.
Lucky for you, they do. You can go back to Kansas City and it'll still be happening.
And they'll still do it. Like it's so funny. So
I guess it really came full circle with that being my job for our dad.
Yeah. So, and then later on, he actually had Royal season tickets, and sure enough, he knows now that it
happens.
People do that. That's a baseball thing. So. But so no, that's a good story. I like that. So, all right. Are you ready for mine?
Oh yeah. You really
definitely
hyped this up.
Switching gears.
I'm really excited.
All right. So I have a friend that I got this from a friend. I won't say names or anything, but it is important to note that this was a government job. She worked for Homeland Security here in Kansas City.
Okay.
And, and it was like an office job, but where their office was like kind of connected to like they had like warehouse space, and then they had like every office has their like supply room areas and stuff.
Mhm.
And so I guess at this Homeland Security office, it started like one day, like they noticed that they're keeping like turds in the office room, like imagine like a supply closet, like where they keep the paper and pencils and stuff. There would be shit on the ground.
Okay.
Like,
and they're like, there's no dogs here.
Well, I would imagine at first it was probably like, is this a prank? Like, did somebody put like dog shit
Someone
here?
bring
Like,
their
'cause
dog
they're
in
mad.
here.
Like,
Yeah.
what is going on? Turns out it happens like it starts happening every day, and then I guess she even said that like the manager even moved his desk to be like, we're gonna find out who's doing this. Like, is this like a disgruntled employee that's like doing this? Like, what is going on? And turns out it was like a coworker of hers. It was like this little Chinese lady that would walk into that room and take a poop and then leave and then go back to her desk. Like,
what are you wiping with?
I don't know. They don't know. They were like, dude, it was so weird.
Why? Like, was she angry?
No, she just was like, what? And they were like, you can't just shit, like,
But I had to.
But it happened like for a long period of time. And like, so eventually, they catch her and she got fired over it. But like, I mean, with she telling me this, I'm cracking up because I'm like, what a weird, like, why did you do this? And I mean, then I'm thinking about how was that conversation? Like, if I were the manager and I had to be like, excuse me, can you come to my office? And then like, imagine asking like, are you pooping in the supply room? And she's like, yeah. And you're like, okay, like we can't do that. That's like not okay.
Oh my God. Well, I'm just thinking, because surely there was a conversation around the office like, hi, whoever keeps doing this, like we are going to find you. You need to stop. And she's just like, me? You're not talking about me. They're clearly not talking about me. I'm going to keep doing this. That's so strange.
Well, and she said, because I was like, where their bathrooms are by, and she's like, it's a government building. It's a new government building. Like there's bathrooms everywhere. Like it's not like there wasn't bathrooms nearby. It's not like it was a convenience thing. It was just like a weird cultural thing. And then, so my friend that told me the story, I saw her last night at the Nerd, so we were talking about it. And then I'm like, okay, I need to look up like culture, like Chinese culture, and just see if this is a thing. And apparently, in China, it's pretty common, not in like big cities, but like smaller suburbs, kids peeing and pooping in the street, like wherever. It's like pretty common for that to happen. So, but it said kids, it didn't say adults. So I don't know why it's appropriate for kids to do that. But again, it's a cultural thing. Like maybe that's just an accepted norm. But again, you've come to the US, you've even like been here long enough to get a government job and like do all of this
in Homeland Security
and working for our government. Like, so,
oh my God.
Yeah, it actually, this even says, so when this cultural thing, it says, you will be shocked when you see little kids peeing and pooping right in the street in China. Kids will even have little slits in the back of their pants so they can squat in the street to take a dump. Now this is just really little kids, but the first time you see it, it is like surprising. So, but it says this is little kids. This is not full adults. So
yeah,
I thought it was worth noting. Like, it's like, hey, like for little kids, this is a common practice, but like adults, this is not a practice. So
no.
So anyways, this woman got fired, and she's like, we still laugh about it. Like she was like, we'll still occasionally share her like company photo just to be like, never forget.
That's so crazy. Oh my God.
Weird.
I still can't believe that your holiday story where the guy took a dump in the office, I can't believe that he did not get fired over that.
No.
But this is crazy that it kept happening. Like, oh my God.
And she was just like, oh, okay.
Oh, sorry. Oh my God.
I mean,
Won't
I'm just
happen
imagining
again.
being in that office and like every time I go to get pencils, I'm like, hey, there's another poop in here.
And there's no toilet paper.
And what does she
so-
do at home? Is she doing this at home? Like, is she shitting in a room at home?
Oh my God, I hope
Like,
not. 'Cause
and
that's
how
gross.
rude to just poop and then like leave it. Like, at least I pick up after my dog
True.
even.
True.
It's
Oh my God. I'm shocked. Speechless.
It's so strange. So I know we're really on the poop train with the stories. I'm sorry, guys, but poop is funny. If you don't think poop's funny, I don't know why you're listening anymore.
It's funny. So. It's jarring. It's shocking.
What would you do, Ashton, if you walked in that supply room while she was taking a shit? What would you
quit? I don't get paid enough to watch someone take a dump. Yeah, and like, did it have a lock on the door, or was she like occupado?
Well, I don't know about your supply areas, but ours are all open. Like, there's no doors. It's just like an open space you walk in. You know, we should ask Mom. Actually, Mom, because she works for GSA, they did the lease and stuff for that and the bill.
Oh yeah, did she hear about it?
I told Mom about this when I heard about it. She was like, "Oh my God, that's a brand new building. Like, why would someone do that? It's like new. It's like was built within the last 5 to 10 years."
We didn't know that. Wow.
No.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
I mean, if I walked in, someone's taking a dump, just squatting like a dog.
Is this what our taxes are paying for?
That's what kills me. Our tax money paid this woman's salary to take dumps. In the supply room.
Oh my God. The system is broken.
Just casually go back to her desk and keep working.
Yeah. Well, and Jordan, I bet there's not a sink in there. Like, she's probably not washing her hands. No. Oh my God, too much.
This is a lot. Sorry, guys. This is a lot to unpack. But yeah, I didn't think we had to say this, but don't take dumps on the floor. Like, go to the bathroom. Just advice. I don't know. Think about what you would say if you walked in on someone doing this. Just an idea.
Call 911.
It's not like, and that's the thing is, it was prolonged. It's not like she was drunk one day and did it. It's not like one event happened and she was mad and did it like that guy at my old work. This was a prolonged thing, like a regular standing thing that she did. And I'm like, why?
Like, that's happening. That's crazy.
Even after, yeah, you're right. They probably were sending out emails and were like, hey, if whoever's doing this, please stop. Like,
yeah. Oh my God.
I want to be a fly on the wall in that manager conversation of like, hey,
yeah. How do you delicately handle that? I don't think I could do it delicately. I think it'd be like,
hey, you've been shitting on the floor and you can't do that here.
And you're done. We're done here. I've seen what I needed to see. We're done.
Literally, we've all smelt what we needed to smell.
We smelt what you dealt and your time's over.
It's so my God. So yeah, so I think that's a good end to this episode.
I think so. That was a good one. Thank you, Jordan. Thanks for sharing that.
That really weird poop story.
Very different, very interesting. I'm like, I had a weird interview, and you're like, oh yeah, you think your story's crazy?
Try me.
Boom.
Boom.
Mic drop. Oh my God.
So funny. You know what? I think we've been getting good feedback on the funny poop stories. So I was like, I think we got to just keep slinging them, so
gross.
So gross.
Perfect.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for listening. Make sure you follow us on YouTube, on Spotify, on Apple. Share us with your friends. Thank you for listening.
On the Instagram, on TikTok.
All of it. All right. Well, thank you guys for listening. I'm Jordan.
And I'm Ashton. And we'll see you next Monday. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.